The Greyhound bus had once shuttled San Francisco Bay Area commuters in the 1960s and 70s, so by the time Jessie Lipskin found it in 2015, it had seen better days. Still, the dusty interior lined with seats had plenty of potential, as the New York City native saw it. Indeed, she proved it by turning it into a chic tiny home. Jessie Lipskin grew up in New York City, and she returned there after a 4-year stint studying financial economics at the State University of New York at Binghamton. Her post-grad career kept her in the Big Apple too, as she has worked for investment bank J.P. Morgan since earning her diploma. Once back in the city, though, Lipskin told Apartment Therapy that she had the realization that people waste a lot of time focusing on physical items, purchasing them, misplacing them and subsequently looking for them. And she began to feel that many material items started to feel superfluous to a meaningful life. Indeed, this realization led Lipskin to downsize much of what she owned, and it came at the perfect time. She said it coincided with a period of frequent moves. During the process I relocated 7 times and, by the end, just about everything I owned fitted in my SUV. This allowed her to test the waters of a more mobile lifestyle too, and she found that it suited her. But a turning point for Lipskin came after she watched a documentary called Garbage Warrior, which featured eco-architect Michael Reynolds hard at work. Reynolds relied on recycled materials to build solar-powered creations that he called earthships. Indeed, she said his alternative sustainable lifestyle drew her in even more. In fact, it was a particular quote from the documentary that truly stuck with Lipskin. At one point, Reynolds says, "I feel like I'm in a herd of buffalo, and they are all stampeding toward 1,000-foot drop-off, and I'm in that herd. And I'm like, I'm not going there. I'm not going down that way. So I have to somehow affect the whole herd so that they will take a left turn or right turn and not go off this edge." Indeed, Reynolds' sentiment sparked Lipskin's desire to begin leading a sustainable lifestyle of her own. She had already begun to adhere to a vegan lifestyle, so she needed a plan that'd allow her to continue on that path. Eventually, Lipskin uncovered the perfect plan for her. She decided to move into a tiny home on wheels. Meanwhile, Lipskin wasn't alone in her desire to move into a smaller space, because a tiny home movement already existed. In fact, the concept of living in a less than 400 square foot abode had been around since the early 1970s, although the idea didn't take off until the economic depression of 2008 hit and many Americans sought low-cost housing options. Of course, for Lipskin, the choice to move into a tiny home centered more upon her sustainability aims and the money she'd save by doing so. To that end, she decided to use a recycled vehicle to serve as the shell of her tiny home, and she found just the right one on eBay. Lipskin had considered a traditional RV for her tiny home, but she found that her options didn't have the character that she wanted. Then, she landed on something similar with all of the aesthetics she was looking for. It was a vintage Greyhound bus from 1966, complete with all of its seats from back then. It looked just like a commuter bus from the 60s or 70s. All the original seats were in, Lipskin described to CBS 2 in 2018. But the bus didn't come in mint condition. The finance manager continued, "It was pretty dusty, but it had lived its life in the desert after it retired from the San Francisco Bay Area. Still, the bones of the Greyhound bus remained intact and full of character, and that was enough to sway Lipskin to buy." She told Apartment Therapy, "It was love at first sight." So, she handed over $7,000 in exchange for the vehicle, which would become her tiny home. However, right away, she faced an issue. Lipskin admitted to Insider that she didn't have a driver's license before she bought her Greyhound. However, she did get one soon afterwards. Still, she struggled to drive the bus back to New York because she needed to learn how to drive in manual, which she was still mastering as of the summer of 2018. So, when Lipskin had initially needed to move her bus in 2015, she enlisted some help. The finance manager told Insider, "My 2 friends drove it back to upstate New York and I rented a place up there for a bit while working on it and gutting it." She went on to repark her Greyhound in New Jersey, though, because she knew people who could help her work on it there. Lipskin's team in Asbury Park, New Jersey, consisted of handy friends and contractors who would helm the 3-year renovation. And to inspire the work she did, Lipskin turned to the social media accounts of other tiny homeowners and enthusiasts she found on Instagram, including the modern caravan and fern the bus. Of course, Lipskin's work wouldn't just compass the aesthetics of her Greyhound. Indeed, she and her team had to install plumbing, update electrical work, house appliances and add storage, walls and closets. The latter proved to be the most difficult part. Lipskin told Insider, "If the angle isn't exactly the same every time you park the bus, you might have an issue with opening a door or something like that." Fortunately, Lipskin and her friends and contractors worked hard to build a totally modern living space in a Greyhound bus that still functioned as a vehicle too. And over the 3-year renovation, she invested $125,000 to transform her bus into the tiny home she envisioned. In the end, Lipskin found herself with a property larger than some New York City apartments, she told CBS 2. In her kitchen, for starters, the finance manager had all of the modern must-haves, including a stove top, oven and wooden countertops. Lipskin even fit a washing machine in the space, albeit a non-traditional one. "In here I have the washer spinner, which is an apartment washer-dryer. It has a washer compartment and spinning compartment, and it fits about 7 pairs of jeans," Lipskin told Insider. Rounding out the kitchen's features were a propane tank and a hot water heater that worked instantaneously. Indeed, that quick heating feature would come in handy particularly in the space adjacent to the kitchen, the bathroom. Lipskin was able to fit a full standing shower onto her Greyhound because she split the bathroom into 2 rooms. She explained on Instagram, one for the sink and toilet and a separate room for the shower directly across the hallway. Both are the same size. Meanwhile, the space that proved to be Lipskin's favorite was her cozy bedroom. Indeed, her lifted bed sat right next to a giant window. And, although she continued her bright white colors scheme into her sleeping space, Lipskin added a pop of rainbow color with a stack of hardcover books. Elsewhere, Lipskin decided not to put a TV in this area of her home, and she felt better for it. She told Insider, "I love not having a TV. I had the option to have a TV, but I really like waking up in the morning and hearing the birds outside my window. It's nice to just cozy up in bed and read a book." As for the rest of the living space, Lipskin's renovated bus surprisingly featured a second sleeping area for guests. This sat at the front of the cabin, and consisted of a bench which could pull out into a full-sized bed. Indeed, this feature represented Lipskin's great ability to fit the necessities into her small space. Meanwhile, Lipskin explained that her life in small New York City apartments had prepared her for her tiny home life. She told Insider, "I've always been very organized and tidy and kind of tried to get rid of whatever I don't need." Still, the finance manager did hold on to some sentimental items. In fact, the things she chose to bring into her Greyhound all came with a special meaning. For instance, Lipskin told Ep.com that she displayed on her counter a stack of china from her great-grandmother's tenement on Delancey Street in New York City. And the set had even survived the building catching fire. Indeed, Lipskin could point out some of the burn marks still visible on the china. Lipskin's family heirloom made the perfect addition to her tiny home, and not just for the incredible story that the china told. She added, "You can't microwave them or put them in the dishwasher, so they're actually good for my home because I wash everything by hand. I still use them. I kept the whole set." Indeed, this decision represented Lipskin's personal version of minimalism. She told App.com that typically she adhered to the principle that less is more, except in the case of such comforts as her family hand-me-downs, classic hardcover books and personal photographs. For everything else, she told App.com, "I'm giving them up, but I'm gaining through the experience of having had it." And, according to Lipskin, although she had given up material things, her tiny home had afforded her new experiences and opportunities she enjoyed. She had parked her Greyhound on a slice of private land in Asbury Park that faced a stretch of woods, where she loved to walk and spend time outdoors. Plus, as previously mentioned, Lipskin made a point to keep books in her tiny home. But as a busy finance manager, she hadn't always had time to dive into stories in the past. She told Insider, "I feel like I've been so busy these past few years that I haven't read as much as I'd like. I have the time now to do that." Lipskin did say she would change one thing about her little home if she could. She wished it had a very specific kind of outdoor space. She told Apartment Therapy that she wanted a roof deck and had already started the work. She added, "I've had metal brackets installed which can either be used for solar panels or decking." Lipskin added, even without such an addition, the Greyhound's transformation shocked those who came to visit Lipskin in her Asbury Park abode. As she reported to Apartment Therapy, the most common sentiments from her guests were, "Is this actually a bus?" and "This is nicer than my apartment." Indeed, much of that came down to Lipskin's aesthetic and well-planned layout, of course. And yet, despite all the beauty Lipskin had created and the benefits she had reaped from her Greyhound renovation, she announced that she'd be selling her creation after she had completed the project. It turned out that her work was set to send her overseas to Italy and Russia. Plus, she still could not drive the manual vehicle. Fortunately, Lipskin's stunning renovation, and the Instagram account that has charted its progress, had racked up lots of followers and fans. She told app.com, "There's been a lot of interest. I've received a vast array of messages from people who are considering this lifestyle." Meanwhile, Lipskin first listed the bus for $149,000 on Craigslist, presumably factoring into the price the $125,000 she spent to renovate it. She went on to put it up for auction on eBay too, with a starting bid of $49,999. But the buying window ended on August 30, 2018, and no one had bid on the Greyhound at that time. Additionally, Lipskin also put advertisements for her bus-based tiny home on websites dedicated to buying and selling such properties. This would fit in with her goal of selling the place to someone who would really appreciate it, she told CBS 2. She added, "It was a labor of love for sure, so I want to find the right person." Thankfully, someone did eventually purchase the Greyhound, and they gave the story a very full-circle ending. Lipskin had purchased the bus after finding it had retired to a West Coast desert post service in San Francisco. Nowadays, the bus sits in the desert once again, this time as Airbnb accommodation. Indeed, even without Lipskin's design aesthetic, the Greyhound remains an adorable place to rest one's head. Its new owner, Jeannie, splits her time between Joshua Tree, where the bus resides, and New York City. On the Airbnb page, she notes how modern and eco-friendly the lodging is. She also mentions that a new bathroom has been added to the property. Those who have spent the night in the Greyhound bus find it to be just as comfortable and unique as Lipskin did. One reviewer, Kate, wrote, "The conversion is super cool." Another user named Anna agreed, writing, "Awesome and funky spot. We had a great time." The bus was as pictured, super hip and cozy. With her bus onto a new life, Lipskin told Apartment Therapy that she'd be taking the opportunity to travel internationally and wanted to experience it in full. But once she comes home, she said she'd love to return to her tiny home life, although she preferred a smaller vehicle for her future abode, such as an Airstream trailer. And, after growing up in NYC, Lipskin said she may eventually end up back in her native northeastern U.S. Next time, though, she might live even farther north than the Big Apple. She told Insider, "I haven't decided where I want to settle down, but I do love the Northeast. New England, I love it there."